Well, my friends, I am going to bring you another episode of Queerly Growing Older. And what I planned to do was hike and talk about a thing and take you along with me on that hike while we talk about a thing. But as you all know, because of Hurricane Helena, I'm unable to do that. So we're just going to have the conversation. And don't worry, I always have some beautiful B-roll of nature, and it'll be the same. I just won't be actually walking and talking. Okay, well, the thing I wanted to talk about was energy. I never really understood energy. I understood that I could, with my anger, push people away from me. Like I knew how to do things like that. I knew how to intimidate people for sure. You know, I knew if I walked into a room, I could change that energy in that room, but I didn't understand what that was about or why I could do that. Books that kind of helped me understand it, but is also, you know, the more you find out, the more questions you have type of book. And that's the Kybalion. Very small. I will literally read passages and then contemplate on the passage for a couple of weeks. It's not the study of the occult, but a lot of people kind of lump it into the occult. I recommend it if you like metaphysical things. Three Initiates, Hermetics. Just thought I'd bring that little book up if you were interested in kind of learning about big ideas when it comes to energy and energy shifting and what all of this is. And look, I don't even know if I believe what they're talking about as far as the all and all that. I don't know. It's cool. It's a good theory. Might be true. Might not. Who knows? But I was fortunate enough to have the universe really show me in real time energy and how to shift energy and how to change energy. And the first time it happened was at a job, a feed plant of all places in upstate New York. But this last time that it happened has been the most recent. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because I need to understand where I put my energy is where the things are going to manifest. Now, I say that and I understand it, but when I'm out there, that's the part that's hard about it, right? Like when I'm out there, it's hard for me not to go straight away into the reactive state. And that for me is what my entire healing journey has come to be about. I didn't know that's what it was about in the beginning, but now it is about understanding I don't have to live in that reactive state. Understanding that the reactive state is really a trauma response. And number one, there's no shame in that. But if I choose to, I can help turn that around. I can help change those habits because the nervous system, my nervous system, has now in fact gotten in the habit of being on high alert all the time, of being in the reactive state. So what I really wanted to talk about with you this week was the events that happened to me were really kind of crazy. What happened last week. I'm a forklift driver and I work for a manufacturing company in Tennessee. Regular minimum wage, $20 an hour job. Nothing important there. When I was hired, there was another guy hired with me, a POC, and we both went through orientation together. And I don't know if you've ever had this feeling, but sometimes I'll get a feeling off of someone. And this guy gave me the feeling like he wasn't going to show up on Monday after the orientation in the first half week, right? But to my surprise, he showed up. So I didn't think anything of that feeling or that thought, right? Whatever. Him and I get trained in two different zones. eventually what you have to do is you have to swap so that I know his job and he knows my job, right? Everybody, this cross-training thing that all these places want to talk about. So a few weeks later, we swap positions. I go into his zone, he goes into my zone. Now understand, we are not the only two forklift drivers. There are two other forklift drivers. And because I don't name names, I'm going to give you Junior, because he's the youngest. He's like right around 26. And Kevin, that's what we'll call him. Junior and Kevin. Kevin is my age. He's a Gen Xer. All right. So lots of anger, lots of bent up rage, all that stuff. And it's actually kind of funny because both of them are kind of me in different stages of my life. Like the kid, Junior, he's that smug know-it-all that I used to be when I was in my 20s. And Kevin, the older guy, is like I used to be 5 years ago before I got therapy and stopped drinking and all that stuff. He's all the time, you know what I mean? And that's how I used to be. The reason why it's important for you to know those characters is because they play an important part of my learning experience pretty much. And the fact that I can recognize myself in both of their characters to a certain extent. POC and I, who got hired together, we swap positions. I'm learning his zone, he's learning my zone. Mind you, both of us have only been here for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. It wasn't long. And this is not a place that has a training program, right? Like there aren't any training programs anymore, not really. They just throw you out there and good luck, learn it on the go, learn it as you go. I can do that. This is an easy job and I'm grateful for it. So anyways, I'm over there and I just don't jive with that team. It's all older women. Where I live is a place of the patriarchy, ultra masculine. The more toxic masculine you are as a man, the more they support you in this state of Tennessee. Like it's just that way. And I didn't know that until I lived here for a few years, and that's fine. What I'm trying to set up is the idea of the culture. Culture plays a very important part in the way things are handled, especially at a job. And these women, they don't like other women. Why? Because they're pick-me's. They're supporters of the patriarchy. They think that all women are competing for male attention, right? So they don't like each other for that, but they fake it around each other, right? Now, the reason they don't like me, and I found this out from the horse's mouth. I asked somebody one day, I'm like, why are all the women like, they don't talk to me, they don't even want to look at me. When I try to ask them, oh, it's because you're gay. What? What do you mean? What does that have to do with anything? Well, if they talk to you, then everybody's going to think that they're gay. So I'm like, really? Is that really why? Yeah, that's really why. Okay, what the fuck ever. Now, 3 weeks in, I'm learning a new position. I don't really know what's going on because nobody's teaching you. You're just figuring it out. And these older women who are running the line, who are running these parts machines, they're assembly lines. And so the women that are running these assembly lines, when they need parts to be refilled, when they need a forklift driver to swap out parts, they're not calling me. They're calling Kevin, right? The older guy, the guy that is my age. So they keep calling him instead of calling me because they don't want to talk to me because I'm gay. So Kevin comes over, keeps coming over, and then all of a sudden he comes over and he starts screaming at me. You got 5 lines over here that you need to run, blah, 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 blah. And in the past, matter of fact, that's what happened at my last job. It's why I pretty much isolated myself, is because I got into it with another guy who everybody likes. He's an asshole, but he's been there longer than me and everybody likes that guy. So I'm Here we are again. Here's some guy yelling at me. Who are you? You're not my boss. There's no safety issue. As far as I'm concerned, there's no reason to yell unless there's an immediate safety issue. But he thinks it's appropriate to yell at me. So I didn't respond. And I'm very proud of myself for not doing that, because I have in the past and it did not go well. So I went straight to the boss. So I told my boss, hey, can you have a chat with him? There's no reason to yell. There's nothing here that's important that you need to be yelling. Boss was like, okay, yep, take care of it. Fine. Well, as most immature, toxic, masculine men are, they respond like a toddler. So of course he doesn't talk to me for a few days. Fine, a few weeks go by, no problem. I learned the position, big deal. Now remember, Kevin is mad at me because I am not going to take his bullshit. I don't deal with rudeness, and that is the point that I'm getting to. I no longer give power to things that do not serve me. It's really hard because I want to get along with everybody at work. But I'm not always going to. And it's okay to be rejected by people. It's okay for people not to like you. It's okay for me to not like other people. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay for me to set a boundary, and when an individual crosses that boundary, you just say, we're done. That's okay. And that's what I did for myself. Fast forward, we're going along a few weeks. He's obnoxious. This is the other thing that Kevin likes to do, is ride around the plant. And whenever he sees me, he feels that he has the right of way, whatever the situation is. Fine. I don't really care. Now, when I started caring was when we had a near miss, right? That's a safety issue. And the reason why I was caring at that time is because a couple of days prior to his and I's near miss, I tipped over a container full of parts. And I had to go take a drug test, and you understand. So I'm already being looked at as a careless driver. Not looked at that way, but you understand. Like, I'm on the radar now. So I'll be damned if you, Kevin, are going to drive all crazy around me, have near misses, not use your horn, not be paying attention, all this stuff. These are microaggressions, basically. It is. I'm not here for that. So again, I go up to the big boss and I tell him, can you please have a conversation? We just had a near miss. He doesn't want to use his horn. Da, 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 da. My boss says to me, he says, I'm going to watch the video. If I see something, I will say something to him. And I said, that's fair. That is completely fair. Thank you. And I left. Well, evidently he saw something. Again, what's Kevin's response? He's a toddler trapped in a man body. His response is to every single time he drives by me, he lays on the horn. Like, lays on the horn. Now, where does the energy conversation come in? Like, what does that have to do with anything? I'm going to tell you what it has to do with anything. I was getting worked up about this guy, right? And I'm starting to invest my brain power into thinking about this guy and what he's doing to me and wronging me and why he should be driving this way and not that way and that. Stop. I'm responsible for me and nobody else. It's not my business. He's not my business. And I said it out loud because here's the other thing that goes on is Junior. He likes to come into my section and like start doing my job because he thinks it needs to be done a certain way. So he'll start doing it that certain way. Right? He just drives in there and starts doing my shit. And I used to get mad about it. And this is what happened. I said, you know what? This is a really great job. I don't do fuck all day. I drive around on that forklift for 8 to 10 hours a day, picking things up and putting them down. This is a great job. It's 5 minutes from my house. I got my insurance. I got my glasses. I'm getting my teeth fixed. Like, I'm not losing this job because I'm letting myself get worked up over a couple of douchebags, right? Said, if Junior wants to come around and do my work for me, you are going to let him come around and do that work for you, and you're going to smile at him and you're going to say, thanks, Junior. And you're going to stay away from Kevin. Because Kevin wants a fight. He wants there to be like this unspoken disruption and conflict. But he doesn't know how to communicate that he's angry and whatever. Who cares? If you can't communicate your feelings to me, then I don't have time for you, and I'm not going to invest time. That's the part. So as soon as this happens, as soon as I say to the universe, I can't, I have bigger things that I want to do. I don't want to put my energy there, and I will not put my energy there with these people. I'm leaving this place. I'm only using this place to do other things. This is not, I don't belong here. And that's been the problem in the past, is I'm trying to belong. And the universe is telling me you don't belong, and I keep trying to belong. And so I finally said, okay, I don't belong. Like, I'm in this place, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I am also not going to feel ashamed at the fact that I am more intelligent than 70% of the people in that building. It might be more. I'm being nice by saying 70%. I don't relate to them. I don't want to talk about the things that they want to talk about. So, and I'm not going to bang my head on the wall trying to find community in a place that is hostile to my community, the LGBTQIA community. I'm not going to do that. Why? They don't want me here. That's okay. I'm going to leave. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with accepting that. Doesn't mean I've given up. To accept the thing does not mean I've given up. It just means I recognize that there is more detriment to me here than if I just go. To get back to what I was saying, I tell the universe, okay, let him, I'm not wasting my energy here. I have bigger things. That Friday, the POC, the guy I trained with who was working in the other section, doesn't show up. I think we're 60 days in now. Doesn't show up. Monday comes, doesn't show up. No call, no show. Tuesday, no call, no show. Now remember I had that feeling earlier on, like I was surprised when he was there the next Monday after our orientation. Here's the other thing about that that's freaking amazing. That Wednesday, my boss, we're in the office talking together, and he's like, well, it's official. POC isn't coming back. He's like, I hope he's okay. I hope he just found work closer to his home, And then here it comes. My boss turns to me and he says, you know what? I'm kind of glad though, because I was going to have to ask one of you to get off the forklift and go to the assembly line, because we dropped down to only 3 forklift drivers this time of year. And I was like, what? Excuse me? This is the part that's very important to me. This is the part that I am most proud of myself with all of that. He tells me this and I'm like, oh my God. I wasn't hired for my back. I can't do an assembly line. I was hired to be a forklift driver, to do nothing and drive around. You understand? Assembly back, I did it. I messed my back up doing assembly in another plant here in Tennessee. So I'm driving around and I'm godsmacked by this, but the first thing that happened was the reaction. The reactive brain started first. And this is the part I'm proud about. My reactive brain starts going, I wasn't fucking hired for a fucking assembly line. You ain't gonna get me off the... I was hired to be a forklift driver. And what? You gonna pay me less too? Because that's usually... I'm having this whole conversation in my head. Not real, not gonna happen, never gonna happen, you're safe from. But there I am. But I was also aware enough to realize I was having that conversation and getting myself in what? A reactive state of mind. That frequency. And I stopped and I was like, oh my God, look what just happened. Like, thank you. Thank you so much. And I was able to switch over and stop that reactive mind from going down a trail, going down, an alternate timeline that doesn't exist for me. It might exist for somebody, but it's not mine. I'm here. And the universe blesses me and loves me and supports me in all the things that I do. It's taken me a long time to get there, and I don't always feel like that about the universe. But I have more days where I feel supported than the ones that I don't. And that for me is real progress. And so my point to this whole story is perspective. Everything is perspective. Everything is how you look at a thing. I could have spiraled myself into quitting. They don't respect me. They think they're just going to throw me. Instead of recognizing the true blessing that happened there. The true abundance, because they need 3 drivers, you see. So I'm locked in. As long as I don't do anything stupid, I have this job until I'm ready to leave. And that's what I'm proud of myself for doing, pulling back. No, saying no to the reactive mind. It can be done. Is it easy? Nope. But it's habit. Everything is habit. And if I can change one habit, I can change other habits. And when I look at them as habits, they don't seem so daunting. You know what I mean? When I look at them as habits, they don't seem like problems. It's just a habit. And I can change a habit.